What's up, my fellow Michiganians, Michiganders, whatever you happen to call yourselves? Welcome back to Wolverine State Sports Talk, and today we talk about the 5-0 Michigan Wolverines. And you see the title down below. Indiana is the perfect opponent for Michigan at this point in the season, at week 6, mid-season. So, first thing I want to get out of the way is Indiana is a team that is pretty good, but not good enough to beat Michigan, meaning they offer some quality competition, but at the same time, they're not quite good enough to beat us. You know, they're like that guy in practice who works really hard, does great things, but at the same time, you know he's not going to beat the first team out. And that's kind of who I was in high school, my junior year. So essentially, that's like what we're playing against Indiana. And the second thing is, this is the more analytical side of it. This is a great opportunity for Michigan to establish the passing attack. So the first few games, Michigan's been able to mostly run the football and, you know, throw a few passes in the game, but usually Michigan has 2 runs for every pass. And as great as our offensive line is, and as great as Blake Corum is, I think that we're going to have to get that ratio closer to 50-50 against quality opponents. And speaking of quality opponents, look at that. We face one next week against Penn State. So Indiana is a good warm-up, you know, good vocal warm-up, and then Penn State is the opera concert. That's where we got to let everything out. But back to the concept of establishing balance. This is a great game to do it. So Indiana is a weird team where their front 7 is actually pretty darn good. I know usually they're not really known for that, but this year they have a couple of key players in that front 7, and overall they've done a great job. So the Hoosiers only give up 3.3 yards per carry, which is pretty good. And has Indiana played the best teams? No, but their schedule hasn't been complete garbage either. I mean, Illinois, Western Kentucky, and they played Cincinnati. All 3 of those teams are decent, and all 3 of those teams should make a bowl game. So, no, I'm not saying that Indiana has, you know, the 2000 Ravens defense, but this is a quality front 7. By the same token, however, their secondary is absolutely abysmal. So, Indiana gives up 8.12 yards per pass attempt. That's 98th in the country out of 132. That's really bad. 277 yards per passing allowed a game, and that's 118th. Yikes. So what does that tell me? This is a great opportunity for J.J. McCarthy to get some more repetitions, in-game repetitions with the wide receivers, live game speed, because that stuff is super, super valuable. And in this game, I expect Cornelius Johnson, I expect Ronnie Bell to get open, and I expect these guys to have a huge impact. And then same with Roman Wilson to keep doing what he's doing. JJ's going to get some opportunities at some deep balls because he's had a few in the first game. He's going to get a lot more here, and it's going to be the perfect time to work on just continuing to build that continuity with his wide receivers. That's what it's all about. Chemistry is more the right word. JJ McCarthy building that chemistry with his wide receivers. So if Michigan says, screw it, we're just going to run the football this game, just completely pound the rock, I think they'll still be fine because I think Michigan's offensive line is that good that they can beat Indiana, despite the fact that Indiana's front 7 is pretty solid. But Penn State only gives up 3 yards per rush on the season. That is absolutely insane. And before you say, oh, well, they haven't played anybody, you know, they've played terrible teams, that's where their stats look good. Purdue, 2.8 yards per carry against them, and Auburn, 3.3 yards per carry. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think we're going to be able to just line up against Penn State and say, all right, let's run it every single play and, you know, have about 3 runs for every pass. I don't think that's going to work because this Penn State front 7 is stout. And no, I'm not saying Michigan won't be able to run it at all, but it's going to have to be a balanced attack. You know, we're going to need this offense to open up. We're going to need JJ to hit some passes more than he has. And so this is a perfect warm-up to facing Penn State's defense. I think that if we can establish that balance on offense, then we can win the Big Ten championship. But that's going to be key. You know, as much as I hate to say it, as great as our offensive line is, again, we're not going to be able to beat Ohio State playing the way we did last year, meaning running the football 40 times, throwing it 10. Their front 7 has improved immensely. So I think that we're going to have to beat them by using a balanced attack, and I think that we can. But this Indiana game is going to be crucial to establishing that. So really what I want to see, JJ hit some open throws, guys get open, because they're going to have a great opportunity to. And then we're ready to play Penn State and they won't know how to prepare for us. Because right now, I can tell you this right now, teams are just going to load up the box against Michigan. We got to find a counter to it. This is the time to build up that counter. All right, thank you guys for listening. Go Blue. I fully expect to win next weekend, and I expect us to be ready to play Penn State next week. It's going to be a heck of a game. Both teams should be undefeated going into that one, and it could decide who wins the Big Ten East, so it's going to be pretty exciting. All right, thank you all for listening. Go Blue, and have a good rest of your day.